the red flag flying here.
Hello and welcome to The Social Ties, the show where we talk about community organising, political activism, protesting, campaigning and all things grassroots. Tonight I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me Frances Scott. Hello Frances.
Hi there.
And the wonderful Rachel Massey. Hello Rachel.
Hi.
So yes, we have a three-way tonight. Some really important women, and I'm really excited to hear what they have to tell us. So, Frances, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a bit about the project that you're involved in?
Well, I founded an organisation called 50/50 Parliament, and we have a pretty clear aspiration. We want women to have equal seats and equal say at Westminster. There are currently only 220 women MPs. They are outnumbered in the House of Commons by 2 to 1. And in the House of Lords, it's 3 to 1. So in order for women to have equal seats and equal say, we need 105 more women elected. Men and women, boys and girls, are born in equal numbers. And we have a kind of joint responsibility to run the world and plan the future. The planet is our equal inheritance. And it's time that women had the opportunity to play our part in building the future. Democracy was invented 2,000 years ago. But women only got the vote 103 years ago. And in that time, over 5,000 MPs have been elected, but only 552 have been women. And we want to change this. The fight for political equality is still on. So what we've done is we've set up something called Sign Up to Stand. And we want everyone, that's men and women, if they know a woman who they think would make a great representative on their local council or even at Westminster, then ask her to stand, ask her to come and click on our website, the Sign Up to Stand button, and we will help her get selected and elected, or we will help her take the next step. I mean, because actually, for one woman to succeed, we probably need hundreds to try. So we're trying to build a pipeline of women who are prepared to pursue a political career.
I mean, what I'd like to ask you is why? Why did you start this? What gave you the idea?
Well, it occurs to me that representation shapes policy. You know, you have to have a seat at the table if you're going to be able to have an impact on the way life, the way society is run. I used to be what's called an operations analyst when I was in business. This is a while ago now. And I used to I was a business executive and I would fly around the world giving management advice about how to improve their bottom lines generally, you know, and organize their businesses. When I got married and had kids, I changed direction completely and trained to be an antenatal teacher. And I was really passionate about empowering women to give birth. But I found that maternity services were not really women-centered, and that some of the care being offered wasn't, I mean, we have great maternity services, don't misunderstand me, but the way they're designed has shifted over the years. And the evidence tends to suggest that if it's women-centered, if women are given one-to-one care from a midwife, midwifery care, the outcomes improve. The difficulty was that, in fact, the money chases the cesarean sections. And this began to frustrate me, that something that was so fundamentally feminine wasn't really designed around women's needs. And I would sit in meetings endlessly asking about the organization structure I was very often the only person there who wasn't being paid, and nobody took me seriously. And this just frustrated me. I was also, you know, a mother and a parent, and it just felt like Westminster and government policy didn't seem to understand the needs of parents, and even of children. And of course, children don't have the vote, and education, and a whole swathe of things that I just felt Westminster was out of touch. And then when I started to look at the makeup of Westminster, I began to understand why. At that point, there were only 123 female MPs. So women were outnumbered 3-1 in the House of Commons. I mean, I thought we had equality, but when I started to look at the statistics, it was clear that we didn't. And I kind of started to understand why a whole swathe of legislation was just completely unsensitive, and in fact society in general didn't really seem to take into account the role that women had played in terms of parenting. And anyway, so that's I got really angry. And one of my daughters said, "Oh, Mum, stop talking about it and do something." And in fact, there's another little story here. When I went down to collect my daughter from school, and she came bounding out, age 10, saying, Mum, I've just been elected to school council. And I said, oh, that's fantastic, because I knew that she wanted to be on school council. I said, are you representing the class? And she said, no, of course not. There's always one boy and one girl from each class on school council. And I thought, oh my God, they even get it at primary school. Ka-ching, ka-ching. You know, why don't we have gender equality of representation in Parliament? It should just be like that. This is a human right. And the No More Page 3 campaign was happening at that point, you know. Lucy-Anne Holmes, I mean, an incredible young woman. I had put up with Page 3 all my life. I just thought it was something we had to live with as women. And then here was a young woman saying, no, I don't want to be looking at Page 3 of the Sun. And she was designing T-shirts and campaigning. And I thought, well, you know what? If people can say what they think about No More Page 3, I can say what I think about Parliament. And so that's how it started. And I sort of put up a petition, you know, from my kitchen table. But the whole thing has grown since then massively. And I've got the most amazing team behind me. And you know, we started the Ask Her to Stand campaign. I think it was in 2016. We launched that in Parliament. Jess Phillips hosted us, and Justine Greening came. And then my team redesigned the website, and they designed Sign Up to Stand. And we've now got a massive sort of database of women who want to stand, and we send them out their own personal political profile. We offer them buddies. We run bite-sized meetings every week to offer support and advice. And it's fantastic, you know. I mean, women really are coming forward. The last general election, over 50 of the women standing were part of our Sign Up Stand campaign. 9 went on to win seats at Westminster. I mean, it isn't enough. In the last election, only 12 extra women won seats. At that rate, it's going to take like till 2060. That's 40 years for women to have equal seats and equal say. I mean, I'll be dead. My daughters will be old. I mean, this is too long to wait. I mean, it really is too long to wait. As Christine Lagarde said, if it had been Lehman sisters instead of Lehman brothers, you know, the financial crisis might not have happened. Women bring different things to decision making. We have a different attitude, and so it's time that we had equal seats and equal say. There's just too much at stake. We need to have a share in decision making on all policy, not just in inverted commas women's issues, but the economy, the health service. 90% of nurses are women. They're fighting on the front line. Climate change. This affects us too. We should be there. We should be part of the decision making.
That's absolutely incredible. Obviously, I love that story of why you started it, and I can really sort of feel the passion for this coming through. Why is it important that women are represented in Parliament?
Well, apart from the fact that women should obviously have equal seats and equal say on all policy, the bottom line is that representation shapes policy. So take, for example, when President Obama was asked why tampons were taxed as a luxury product, he said because men were making the laws when those, taxes were passed. And, that's the tip of the iceberg. Equal pay. It took Barbara Castle. She really had to fight for women to have equal pay. And even more recently, it wasn't until 2019 that the pay transparency became a thing. And again, it was women, Sarah Champion, in fact, led that. So it's women at Westminster that campaign for women outside Westminster. Of course, men can represent women and women can represent men. But there's a professor of politics called Joni Lewandowski. And as she explains, there's plenty of evidence that men tend to listen to women's concerns better when there are more women in the room. So for example, in Norway, which has a sort of a better gender balance in their parliament, they talk about parenting leave, and men get paid parenting leave. If they don't take it, they lose it. The result is that they take it, and the parenting penalty, it shouldn't really be called a penalty, should it? The parenting joy does not fall just to women. It's a joint responsibility. And this has enhanced family relationships. It's improved the relationships of men with their children and men with their partners. It's a joint endeavor to parent and raise kids, rather than just sort of falling on the shoulders of women. And by men being involved in private life, which of course is happening now with COVID, women are more able to participate in public life. So, this is where the nuance changes when there are more women in positions of power that can enhance and change legislation. As Emmeline Pankhurst said, we want to free one half of the human race, the women, to free up the other half. And this is raising kids is an important job. And in fact, again, the Office of National Statistics has started to quantify the unpaid household work that goes on. And I can't remember the exact statistic, but I think they've quantified it at something like 300 billion. The cost of parenting or childcare, raising kids, is much greater than our financial services sector. It's a really valuable part of our society, and it needs to be a joint endeavor.
That's so good and so fantastic, and I couldn't agree more. I'd really like to bring Rachel in now, who's sort of she's one of the members of 50/50 Parliament. Rachel, if I can come to you, can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved in 50/50 Parliament?
Thanks, Laura. Yes, I remember back in 2018, I was watching the news as usual, and on came Francis, full of life and enthusiasm and energy, and somehow just spoke to me somehow, which was very strange, but everything that she said made perfect sense. And she started talking about how they were planning with 50/50 and Ask Her to Stand Day in Parliament that November. And they were asking people to talk to their MP and come along and get involved and come down to Parliament. To which I thought, I've never been. I have gone out for my MP and I've campaigned, but I don't actually know what my MP did. So I decided to contact them, see whether or not they had invited anyone. And luckily he hadn't. And he said he didn't know anything about it. To which I said, I'll tell you about it then. And how about I come and visit you? He said that'd be great. So I did. I went down there on the 21st of November 2018, and it was just amazing. I remember meeting Frances, and somehow it was just, yeah, it was as if she spoke to us about how women weren't realizing their own potential in a male-dominated society, and how women needed to stand. And at that point, I looked around and there were all these women everywhere, and I thought, well, yes, why not? It sounds like a good idea. I don't know why I've never considered it before, but I thought, let's do it. So she sparked my desire to want better, not just for my children or my community, but for every child and every family everywhere. I didn't know it was a problem. I didn't know there weren't enough women that were representing us. It wasn't something that I had ever considered. But at that point, when I then looked into it, I discovered that my own local council wasn't 50-50. And at the end of the day, you know, our population, there are more women than there are men. So if we don't truly reflect the society that we're supposed to represent, then that is a great shame to every individual that we're there for and to be a voice for. In which case I decided then to stand myself. Frances always said you have to be asked 3 times to stand, which is true. I was asked by 3 men to stand, to which it was that case of saying, can I do this? Do I have the confidence to do it? And is this something I could see myself doing? And as the great Tracy Brabin has now said, she told me to just say yes to everything, in which I thought, okay, let's do this. And yeah, I put myself forward then to be selected, and I got elected in May 2019. It was quite a short period of standing. It was a bit of a whirlwind, to say the least, but it was the best time ever. I got to meet so many different people and speak to people about real life issues, and I could actually help them with those. Amazing. A privilege for sure.
Oh, that's incredible. I absolutely love that. It's so much I want to touch upon there. You said that it was something that you'd never considered before. Obviously, there's an issue there about political education for people, for especially women, to understand that this is an issue, and certainly this campaign goes a long way to do that. I'm interested to find out. Obviously, it wasn't something that you'd considered before. What do you think were the barriers getting in your way to stop you realizing that it was something you could do?
Okay, not necessarily a barrier for myself. I just didn't have an interest in politics. I didn't actually know I was needed in politics. I wanted to speak up for my community. I worked hard in my community, loved being such a community activist and doing things with local groups. I just didn't realize that it was needed. It wasn't until I met 50-50 and then saw exactly what we were lacking in our policy and decided to stand there and then. You often think that you have to be a certain type of woman and that you have to have a particular voice. And sometimes we consider that our voice isn't worth hearing. It is not that at all. We need a more diverse and inclusive society. We need to show everyone that your voice is worth hearing, whether it's on a local council or a parish council or in Westminster. you are there to represent every member and constituent that needs you to fight for them.
Absolutely, I could not agree more with you. That's just, and I think there's that sense, I think, with women of imposter syndrome when it comes to politics. You know, we've been brought up in a world where it's essentially a male driven entity, really, and especially I think working class women sort of feel like that is a place that is not for them. You know, they don't belong there. Have you sort of come across that a lot as you've been getting sort of more engaged?
Yes, a lot of women worry about imposter syndrome and say that this isn't for me and I don't belong here and I'm not sure I can do this. You can. Granted, you need support along the way, and Francis and 50/50 Parliament, that is exactly what we're there to do. Everyone needs support behind them, and we work incredibly hard to make sure that we're there for you.
So how does it work then once you become part of 50/50 Parliament? Is it sort of like a networking group? Is it something where you go for advice? What kind of things do you do?
Yes, we run excellent sessions aside from the monthly equal power events that are put on, where we introduce ourselves to women all over the country and introduce also MPs who can help you understand what it is that they do and also give you guidance on things. I myself run a 50/50 bite-size session every Tuesday. They're at 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. for all women. I run the Labour ones in particular, but we use those in order to talk with women who are interested in getting involved in politics, but who need to talk about certain things that may stop them from getting involved. So we discuss, last week was talking about social media and how to campaign. We talk about the interview process. We discuss how to get selected. We discuss how to run a campaign. We look at, next week we're discussing factionalism, and there are several topics, all of which are created by the women that we talk to, so we can work out what the barriers are that stand in their way or what they're uncomfortable with. And the idea being to give them a morale boost and help them with any issues. If we know it ourselves, then we will give them that advice. If we don't, we will find out from someone who does, which is the beauty of politics. You don't have to know everything, but you tend to know someone who does know what you don't know. And then, of course, you can impart that knowledge on them. They feel a lot more comfortable and they're ready to sign up to stand themselves.
That's brilliant. That is such good work, and I love the idea that you sort of getting the ideas for your bite-sized sessions from the people within the group, sort of listening to the things that they want to talk about. I think that's one of the things that is sorely lacking in politics: listening to the people you're there to represent. So that's utterly fantastic. I've actually been to a couple myself, and I have to say they are brilliant. I would definitely advocate for them and just tell people they need to get along, because they are brilliant. They are really, really good and informative, and it does feel comfortable. And I would like to come back to you, Francis, just for a second. I know obviously Rachel there has said that they're dealing with factionalism this week. 50/50 Parliament it's non-partisan, isn't it? It's not necessarily aligned to any political party. How have you found that? Have you found that sort of a difficult thing to do, or has it been relatively easy?
Well, I'm just passionate about empowering women, and I'm really used to dealing with women who have many different opinions. I mean, as a birth educator, you don't tell women how to give birth, you allow them to make their own choices. And it's exactly the same in this particular case. You know, I don't want to tell people what to think. They bring their own experience to their life, you know, to politics, to their life choices. I just want to empower women to stand and make it clear that our country needs them, the world needs them. And this is about building a better democracy that is fully inclusive of women. And so really, to summarize, what happens when a woman clicks the button, sign up to stand, we do 4 things. The first thing we do is we send her a personal political profile, which has been designed by our IT team, which is a kind of checklist of the steps that she might need to take. It isn't, all these things don't have to be completed, but it's a kind of guide, you know, in case you don't know anything about politics, this gives you somewhere to start. And it will allow us basically to sort of monitor the progress that women are making. So we send out a first personal political profile. And then our campaign coordinator, it's a bit like a political dating service. We allocate them with a buddy so that it's peer-to-peer support. It's a friend, so that if you are going to conference or something, there's someone you can phone. You don't have to arrive all by yourself. If you are having difficulty, maybe your local chair or your local committee doesn't seem to be very welcoming. There's someone you can phone and discuss, and you can sort of help each other along. And then, as Rachel just said, we run the bite-sized meetings. And these are party specific. So we have Labour bite-sized meetings on Tuesdays at 1 and 8. We have Lib Dem bite-sized meetings at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. And we have Conservative bite-sized sessions at 1 and 8 on Thursday. And at these sessions, you get expert advice and support, which it sort of fills the gap that you might not get from your buddy. They're not training as such. It's just a friendly group where you can share experiences. We expect the parties to offer mentoring, and we expect the parties to offer training. What we're here to do is provide a kind of network. The old boys network has existed forever. Well, we're kind of a new network. We're the 50-50 network, which, by the way, includes men and women and men. We have many male allies for this. It's not just women that are fighting for this cause. So it's a 50-50 network to sort of help women along the sort of path into politics. And then last, but by no means least, for women who are from minority groups, we offer bespoke support. We're here for all women. We're an intersectional, inclusive campaign. And we recognize that some women face higher hurdles and double discrimination. But someone like me is not really able to offer the special support that others might need. So we have a diversity team who are kind of deciding how best to support women from minority groups and help them along the way as well.
I mean, building a network like that is just so important, because I think in sort of the last few years that I've been sort of working with women, I've found that the collectivism that women show and the support women show each other is second to none. And I think women working together really do prove how things should be done. And I think this is a long time coming. And I just think what you guys are doing is really special and so important. And I do love the fact that nowadays it's really difficult to find something that isn't factionalist or based with one particular viewpoint. And I love that you are inclusive and are trying to sort of just get women to do something and get women to be involved. And so on that, really, what I'd like to end with is, how do we get women involved?
Well, there again, people can be involved with 50-50 on many different levels. It is possible just to join. You can just join, and be on our mailing list and hear about our activities and action. You know, if it wasn't for COVID, we do go to demonstrations. We have picnics outside Parliament. I mean, some people call us the modern day suffragettes. I mean, we are on the railings with our in our t-shirts, waving the banner. So it is possible just to join and come along and help campaign. It is possible to become an ambassador and sort of just spread the message and run, run workshops or make presentations. But really, we're trying to reach out to women who want to stand. And we've now got over 2,000 women who want to stand. Every day, women are clicking sign up to stand, which is completely amazing. And last but not least, if you can't spend the time, but you think this is an important cause, building a better democracy doesn't just take time, it takes money. So we've just set up something called Friends of 50/50. So people can donate and become a friend for $5 a month. Or, maybe if you've got deeper pockets, people can become a patron and donate more. But it's not really about the money. We're here to help women, whatever their financial circumstances, and you can join our movement by just pressing the join button. You can sign up to stand by just clicking sign up to stand. We are here to help women every step of the way, and we'd like everyone to help us build a better democracy.
Brilliant. No better way to do it. I really love the idea as well of the ask her to stand thing, and I found it really funny, Rachel, what you were saying about Tracy Brabin. She collared me at conference and told me to do it as well. She's very keen to get women involved, very much like you are. I guess the other thing that you can do then is go around your networks and talk to women who you think would be well fitting to be a councillor or an MP, and tell them about it.
Yes, I would urge all women to look deep into their souls, know that you have the ability to make a world of difference to the world that we all live in, and be confident. Stand as a candidate. I will ask you myself, please stand for all of us. You will not regret it, and be assured you are not alone. Support is out there with 50/50.
Amazing. I mean, we don't need to say any more. That was a little advert for you right there. That was brilliant. We will, of course, put all of the links of where you can sign up in our chat when this goes out. Just remains for me to say thank you so much, Frances and Rachel, for joining me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it just really has been just lovely to talk about something that's so important. And I do hope women watching this will absolutely sign up and realise, as Rachel said, that your voice matters. It is important and it is worthy. So thanks again to Frances and Rachel from 50/50 Parliament. Please do find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch now. We do have our own website. Please like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.
We keep the red flag flying, yeah.